Hello and welcome to my video series about Khayyam, a poet of many faces, where I will talk about one of the most famous poets and philosophers in the world, Omar Khayyam. This clip is episode 2. In episode 1, which I will post a link to up here, we learned that Khayyam's work was influenced by his historical and cultural context. He lived in a time of turmoil and change, where the Muslim world was divided and threatened by dogmatism and fanaticism. We also learned about the usage of wine in Khayyam's poems and the possibility of diverse interpretations from them. If you haven't already watched the first episode, I encourage you to watch it as it will help you in understanding the perspectives we talk in this clip. In this episode, we will dive deeper to the reasons of diversity in interpretations of Khayyam's poetic works by inspecting the most popular translations of Khayyam's poems in the world. I will also narrate what famous people said about Khayyam. I'll finish my video with Albert Einstein's quote about Khayyam. One aspect of Khayyam's life that we have to consider to truly analyze his philosophic view in his poems is that Khayyam was not primarily a poet, but a mathematician, astronomer, and physician. He made significant contributions to various fields of science, such as solving cubic equations by intersecting conic sections, calculating the length of the solar year with remarkable precision, designing a new calendar based on a 33-year intercalation cycle, and criticizing Euclid's theory of parallels. In fact, nobody special in the West knew that Khayyam was a poet until Edward Fitzgerald translated some of his quatrains into English in 1859. Moreover, the number of his discovered and validated poems do not exceed 120, compared to over 2,000 poems written by Rumi, another famous Persian poet. Therefore, it is possible that Khayyam did not intend to publish his poems, but rather composed them as a diary for his own personal enjoyment and reflection. Unlike Khayyam, Rumi recited his poems for his disciples and followers and had them recorded. Therefore, Khayyam's poems were not preserved or transmitted in a systematic or consistent way. They were scattered and fragmented and often mixed with other poets' works. They were also subject to alteration and corruption by later copyists and editors. Another reason for diverse interpretations on Khayyam is that Khayyam's work was interpreted by different translators and scholars. One of the most influential translators of Khayyam's Rubaiyat or quatrains was Edward Fitzgerald, an English poet who published his first edition in 1859. Fitzgerald's version was not a literal translation, but rather a loose adaptation that rearranged, omitted, and added quatrains to create a coherent and lyrical poem in English. Fitzgerald's quatrains were widely admired for its beauty and elegance, but also criticized for its distortion and misrepresentation of Khayyam's original thoughts and words. Fitzgerald himself admitted that he had most ingeniously tessellated the quatrains out of Omar's scattered verses. Fitzgerald's quatrains was seen by many as a celebration of wine, women, and song, and a rejection of religion and morality. Be happy if you're so drunk on wine. Be happy if you're with a girl so fine, since in the end all things on earth will decline. As if there's no tomorrow, get on cloud 9. However, it seems that Fitzgerald does appoint Khayyam as a truth seeker in his introduction to the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. One of the most prominent critics of Fitzgerald's translation was Robert Graves, an English poet and novelist, who collaborated with Omar Ali Shah, an Iranian Sufi scholar, to produce a new translation in 1967. Graves and Shah claimed that their version was based on a 12th century manuscript that they had discovered in Greater Khorasan, a province of ancient Iran, which revealed Khayyam's true Sufi philosophy. They accused Fitzgerald of being ignorant of the Persian language and the Sufi symbolism, and of reversing Khayyam's philosophy by representing him as a pessimist and an atheist or a deist who believed in God but not a religion. However, their translation was also met with skepticism and controversy, as many doubted the authenticity of their manuscript and their interpretation.
Khayyam was a man who lived in the present moment and enjoyed the beauty of the world around him.
Another influential translator of Khayyam's was Gabriel Marcel, a French philosopher and Catholic convert, who published his version in 1957. Marcel was interested in Khayyam's existentialist themes, such as the quest for meaning, the mystery of existence, the anxiety of death, and the freedom of choice. Marcel saw Khayyam as a sincere seeker of truth and meaning, who faced the challenges and uncertainties of human life with courage and curiosity. Marcel also admired Khayyam's poetic expression of his spiritual dimension, which he understood as a response to an infinite being who transcends human understanding. Khayyam was not a nihilist, but a passionate seeker after truth. A final reason is that Khayyam's work reflects his own personal journey and evolution, so it is quite natural and possible that Khayyam's views on life changed over time. He may have started out as a more traditional thinker, but as he gained more experience and knowledge, he may have become more skeptical and questioning. Or perhaps he was always a seeker of truth, but his views on what that truth was evolved over time. The mature Khayyam was not an absolute nihilist who only spoke or believed in futility or meaninglessness of life. He was a sincere seeker of a sense of life. He did not deny or ignore the spiritual dimension of existence, but rather explored it through his poetry and philosophy. As the French philosopher Gabriel Marcel said about him, he had come to wonder and wonder. Like any other of us, Khayyam was perplexed at times. He was full of questions and fears and wonder. And what spirituality is more than this? Khayyam was an existentialist who meant that existence precedes essence. This view, when devoid of spirituality, leads to the dilemma of meaninglessness and futility. But Khayyam did not fall into this trap. He embraced the mystery and beauty of existence and celebrated with his words and deeds. Ultimately, it is up to each individual to decide how they interpret Khayyam's work. I hope you have enjoyed learning about some of these perspectives, and I encourage you to let me know about your opinion on Khayyam. And no, I haven't forgotten yet. I'm gonna share with you what Albert Einstein's opinion about Khayyam was. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it and learned something new. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos about Persian spiritual, poetry, and literature. I have always been attracted by the mystical side of Khayyam's poetry.